affiliated with the school? Okay, and how are you feeling today?
Yes, everybody has to have a seat. Move that finger and look really deep. There you go, yeah.
What? And by the way, my name is Tina Russell, and I'm a freelance photographer with today. Just wanted to identify myself. And is this your wife? What's your name? Okay, and do you guys live here in Sarasota, or where do you live? Me too.
Go.
Okay, can I get your phone number? Because my reporter is over there in case he wants to talk to you.
That's great.
Wall Street Journal. I'm a freelance photographer with Wall Street Journal today, and then our staff reporter. We have the same last name. Are we really? No. I mean, my family's from Florida. So they used to. My dad's side of the family, they live all over the states. My dad's in my mother's here in Florida. The last name. Okay. Yeah. My dad's from Illinois. So. Yeah. Okay. You might want to meet up with you after this. Let him know.
But you're there. Yeah.
How do you spell that?
What are your other sites? Are you with the group? This is from the this is also welcome.
Take a picture of this. Take a picture of this.
How are you? Where are you coming from? To Tampa. Oh, that's great. You know, trustee here. Trying to corral all the folks in here. And you a photojournalist, a writer, or both? Yeah. Michelle? In touch with this time, please. Beatrice?
Oh gosh, not in a while. Yeah, about 20 minutes late. There's a 2.5 hour break in between. So there's plenty of time. Pretty much right here. And yeah, I think he's going to be hanging out here from the stage, taking questions when you guys sit up. Sit down. I don't know, given the delay, I don't know if it's going to be a full half hour with you guys. As long as and if he has to cut short, whatever already. There's still a lot of different Hey, Alex.
My timeline is
I don't know what you said.
I think he may have seen like and decided that that's how you say you're the acting whatever, you know. But the president is the president. The president is she's not dead or incapacitated. She's just in Orlando or something. So the president is still the president. But if you look at the organizational chart and you read the Florida State Constitution, we run the show. We're the board of trustees, and so. You know, I think she has a good heart, but ultimately, I think she represents some of the fear, some of the cowardice. And Eddie and I, you know, they threatened to kill Eddie with a beer. They threatened to kill him. He's not scared. I'm not scared. We're not going to be scared. And so we're modeling a different set of values, and what we're going to do here is pretty simple. It's saying we're not going to back down. We're not going to give in to hostage taking, and we're going to go hard.
I need you for tight. I just talked to Alex.
Okay, yeah. No, but it's like, they're not turning out. Yeah, did you tell him? Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Rufo. Hey, guys.
Your reporter is here.
He's going to get like set up. Violence is very impressive. I didn't know he was I've actually been on. I mean, I've only seen some. The beer just
Is Armand back there? Armand, yeah.
Are you wondering? Are you?
Hey, excuse me, sir. Would you mind like holding the seat for me while I'm up?
No, don't mind at all.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, be clear. No one can be standing. You have to have a seat. All right? Just want to be clear on that. You cannot stand. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Yep, student. And I'm helping someone working for the news, for the local radio station.
Turn it up, Mike. Let me turn it up.
those things you just put down over there? Any idea?
I'm not sure. Like that thing, it could be a microphone. I'm not sure.
Their own cameras, only people in this audience, maybe?
It could be. I don't know.
A student plus working for a local radio station.
Hello. Thank you all for joining us today. If I could encourage the last few people to take their seats. Many of you know me. My name is Matt Lipinski. I'm honored to serve on the Board of Trustees as the faculty representative. I also teach computer science here at New College. I just wanted to thank all of you for taking the time to come out and talk to us today for this informal conversation with two of our new members of the Board of Trustees. I know this is an incredibly busy time for all of you as you support our students in finishing up their ISP projects and preparing for next term, as you work with those of our students that are graduating this January and help to prepare them for wonderful opportunities beyond New College. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I believe you're aware that this is a public meeting. This will likely be recorded based on all of the cameras in the room. Additionally, minutes are being taken, so yes, please know that you are speaking in public. As also, I think many of you know, we have 6 new trustees on our Board of Trustees, and I am pleased to be here today with 2 of our new trustees, Trustee Rufo and Trustee Speir. And so I'm going to hand it off here to my new colleagues on the board, and I think they're going to say a few remarks and introduce themselves, and then we should have time for questions. I apologize, we're starting a little bit late today, but we're going to go the full hour, and so there should be time for some questions after some introductions and remarks from the trustees. The last thing that I wanted to say while I was up here is I just wanted to give a special thanks to everyone on the New College Police Department and the Sarasota Police Department. I understand that these type of events are so hard, and I really appreciate the work of our law enforcement officers both in Sarasota and here our campus police in making this event possible, because we know that we couldn't be here doing this without their hard work and expertise. So thank you so much to everyone who's helped make this possible. Yeah. Yeah, so now I'd like to hand off to Trustee Rufo, and you can say a few remarks, and I'm going to get myself off the stage and let your new trustees go and introduce themselves and have some time for conversation. So
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. And so, for a little bit of housekeeping, Matt mentioned this is a meeting of the board, and Trustee Speir and I can speak in general terms, but we cannot discuss. Fritz, all right, here we go. Better. But we can't discuss any specific matters that might come in front of the board. And so we'll be speaking in general terms. We're going to be having minutes being taken, and then we can take questions. And I think we're going to go a full hour. We started a little bit late because of the theatrics here, but we're going to go from 10:25 to 11:25. And so, look, I'm going to level with you. We're all here for a serious problem. I'm going to outline what I think is the problem, and I'm going to outline some of the principles and ideas that we hope to bring to the table as new trustees. There's going to be, of course, disagreement. I welcome that. I like civil debate and disagreement. We're political appointees. We represent the expression of the democratic process, and that involves debate. We don't believe that we're always right, and the points that I'll be raising today are contingent on changing my mind. They're provisional. And so I'd like to hear from you. I've spent the last 2 weeks really devoting all of my time to this, talking to administrators, faculty, students, staff, alumni, community leaders here in Sarasota. to try to really understand the problem. I've also done an enormous amount of reading about the university and its history, getting materials from the New College of Florida archives to understand what the vision was at the beginning, at the founding of this university in 1959-1960. But I think we need to start with the bad news. You know, as many of you know, the legislators have long been frustrated with New College. In recent years, the kind of top consideration was actually to dissolve the college and then transfer its assets to other places within the Florida public university system. And so the problem I see is really fourfold as far as the quantitative problem. We have a big problem in admissions. So in 2018, the university promised that it would go from 800 students to 1,200 students in order to reach financial viability by really this year. Instead of going from 800 to 1,200, it went from 800 to 700. According to a lawmaker's report, the state cost per degree at New College of Florida is nearly $200,000 compared to $36,000 or $37,000 at Florida State as its closest competitor.
No.
And we also have a kind of decline in standards. New College was a place of great brilliance. I've talked to alumni that have told me that. They look back at their years here as an extraordinary place of self-discovery, a place of academic excellence, and really, when the people of Sarasota came together originally, they said, we want this to be modeled on the New College of Oxford, the New College at the University of Edinburgh. We want a quote, this is a quote from the founding members, we want a classical liberal arts education here, modeled on rooted in the scholarly traditions of Oxford. And it was also a very progressive institution. At the time, in 1959, there were no Florida universities of any kind, public or private, that offered open admissions on the basis of race, color, creed, ethnicity, etc. New College was the first. And they had a clear vision on that. They said, we're going to treat everyone equally. We're going to have a mission of scholarly excellence, and we will not judge anyone on the basis of their identity, of their race. And I think that is something that is a very strong founding principle. But there's been a slide. In 1993, 67% of first-year students at New College were in the top 10% of their high school graduating class. So this was a place that attracted the best and the brightest from the high schools all over Florida and really the country. Since then, that number has plummeted to 21%. You have a yield rate here. So among the students who are admitted, you have an admissions rate of 74%. Comparable, competitive liberal arts colleges try to get their admissions under 20%. Now it's 74. You accept more or less anyone who applies. But the yield rate, those students who are accepted but choose to attend, is only 13%. In other words, approximately 85% of students who are accepted here choose to attend another institution. And then among those who actually matriculate, who become freshmen here, by the end of the year, more than 20% of them drop out of the college. So the experience that they have here, 1 in 5 says, not great. And that's a kind of the bottom of a funnel of a series of really catastrophic numbers. The outcome is, and look at this, we want to prepare students to have a great liberal education, to polish their skills and to be ready to enter the world as citizens. But Florida State performance metrics rates New College dead last as far as their competitive performance metrics. 2 of those that I think are important. That could be funny, but I don't think it's funny. And I don't think it's funny for these kids, and I'm going to tell you why. Only 53% of New College graduates are employed or in school 1 year after graduation. That's dead last. In other words, 50% of people who get a degree from here within 1 year are unemployed, not in the labor force, not in school.
True.
This is from the Florida Board of Governors. You can disagree. I can't see what you're saying behind your mask, but
Yeah, you got to
you're
point
not
that
right.
out, don't you?
I'll be glad to share later.
And then you can share in your time. The median wage 1 year after graduation for a New College graduate is $32,000. That's not a good wage. At other universities, it's much higher. New College is dead last among the 12 Florida public universities. And so you have half of the students, well, first of all, you have most of the students drop out. Only 58% of the students graduate in 4 years, 20% drop out in the first year. And among those who graduate, you have really bad numbers as far as people who are employed, people who are going to further their education, and then median wages. And this is a problem. Legislators have known this is a problem for a long time, and the finances of the university reflect that. And we're here. Let's get to the good news. We're here to make all of these numbers better. We're here to increase performance. We're here to improve the environment. And the other thing that I think is really important for us to say is that every single person, with one exception that I've talked to, behind closed doors says New College has a culture problem. This is a big problem here. Everyone, students, faculty, staff, administrators, alumni, supporters, and even the consultants that the university has hired. They said that New College, in 2019, quote, New College has become an echo chamber. They say that there's intimidation and ostracism of students on the basis of race, on the basis of their political views. The consultants say that it has an extraordinary focus on social justice, which has led to a significant negative effect on matriculation. When they did a study, these consultants hired by the college, they said that the three words, the three phrases that most describe the culture here, quote, politically correct, druggies, weirdos. The college is saying this. And, you know, I think that that's not a great brand for the college, you know. And I think that consequently, and again, you don't have to trust me, you can trust the consultants, who I think did a fantastic job. They said this repels students. We can't get admissions. And I've talked to a lot of folks here, a lot of the adults. Behind closed doors, they say, yeah, I had a Christian student who was mercilessly bullied and pushed off campus. We did nothing to protect him. I see this over and over. Another student, you know, bullied and harassed, dropped out of his classes. I'd like to create a better environment for these people. I'd like to have a wider range of views. We have an echo chamber here, where only one orthodoxy is allowed. It doesn't reflect the breadth of opinion in the state of Florida. It doesn't reflect the breadth of opinion at a good liberal arts college. And so, we have all of these challenges. And again, the Board of Governors, the legislators, the consultants, most of the people who work here are in agreement. These are hard facts. These are documented problems. And so we're going to bring some changes. I think that one bright spot, as I've reviewed the bios and where I can find them, the CVs of all the faculty, you have some incredibly brilliant people here with incredible credentials, with substantive and scholarly research, and a commitment to teaching. And some of those have told me, hey, Chris, I just want to teach. I just want to do my scholarly work. I want to create a little space for a bit more disagreement, a bit more civil discourse, a bit less pressure on the cultural side. And there's so many of us that we're maybe afraid to speak out publicly. There are so many of us that are excited about these changes because there's a big opportunity. I think we're also going to be able to bring, I hope, new resources here. I don't think that the governor would be engaging in this ambitious transformational agenda without the legislature saying, you know, we're going to actually provide the resources to make it happen. We're going to provide the extra assets, the extra support, the extra external resources that you'll need in order to make this process a success. And so that's another bright spot. And the other bright spot is, I think, the original vision of this college. I think we have to get back to it. In my view, and again, this is subject to revision. I'm new here, but my view is that the college's value proposition, what the college is communicating to people, the vision, the mission, is no different than any other generic university college experience. I don't see anything that they're really pushing that is different, but there's something different here. There's the founding ideas, some of those great people who've surrounded the universities, the brilliant faculty, and the unique academic system of making a contract with your faculty advisor, having a one-on-one education. And then, of course, you have an unbelievably gorgeous campus with these incredible historic buildings on the beach at a price tag of, from what I've heard, $6,900 a year. This is the best deal in education. This should be a place of the best value in education. And this should be the place where we have a robust civic debate among scholars and students. They can have a one-on-one relationship with faculty that you could only get at the most elite private institutions, but you can get it here as part of the public university system. And so, we don't already have that, unfortunately. So let's take a poll. Raise your hand if you think there are no problems here.
That's ludicrous. There are problems everywhere.
Raise your hands if you think there are no significant problems here. Okay.
I think there's
no significant problems.
There's
okay, that's fine. But the vast majority of you, 90, 95% roughly, agree with me that there are significant problems here. No. Okay.
Who's got some email advice not to use threats? You are the problem.
Oh, sure. So threats again. Oh, yeah. All right. You'll have your time to talk. You'll have your time to talk. And I'll just respond briefly. I don't understand. I don't understand how threats against Trustee Speir is his problem.
Please stop.
Just stop. Just stop. Come on. We'll get your choice. So, this is my hypothesis. My commitment to you is to work as hard as possible to improve all of these numbers. And there are going to be many of you who agree. I think a large majority of you who actually agree with me behind the scenes, silently. But they're not going to agree publicly because some of you are frankly bullying and intimidating people. That's a fact. This is documented. The university itself has admitted this. And the top administrators behind closed doors also admit this. And so I will say that, and we'll have a chance for debate. But before we get to that, I'd like to have Trustee Speir give his remarks.
Thank you, Chris. So I just kind of walked into this and just witnessed and watched what's happened. So I'm just going to give my report to you guys of how I've been received, right? First, I was researched on Twitter and trying to find anything possible that was disagreeable, and we can have those disagreements. I'm not worried about having those discussions. I think they're good discussions to have, but that's just it. We need to have discussions. When it gets turned into something that's much more vindictive, hurtful, intimidating, then that's something entirely different. And you might say that, hey, that's my fault, and that's fine, but I don't agree. I think that as a free person here in the United States, I should be able to express my opinion.
Of course.
Without fear of intimidation or coercion. Now, I know this environment. Who said that?
We would like that too. Yeah. We would like to.
Our students would like
Thank
that.
you.
And we'll have a comment period. We're going to respect that. We value your voice. And now is not the time. So just please wait.
But I will say that I appreciate that, because I think that we have a lot more in common than we realize. And I think if we walk this out, don't try to come to a conclusion. What appears as my opinions are perhaps diametrically opposed to yours, but the definition of intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in your mind at the same time and yet seek a deeper truth. I'm encouraging everybody here to seek a deeper truth. Please, it's just a respectful way to do things. And I have not been respectfully treated as I've come in here. First thing I did is I had an interview. They went through, I'm telling you guys everything that you probably already know, but I'm just going to go through it again from my perspective. I have an interview, and I go through an interview, and I tell them a lot of things, but they did a bunch of research, and it was a hit piece. It was definitely a hit piece to try to stir up as much salacious content as possible to try to create this kind of circus. Do you realize that it wasn't me that was trying to create this kind of circus? I was invited in to be a board member. I said yes. And let's walk this out. Free thinkers. Let's have discussion, let's have debate. But that wasn't the case. In fact, and what I've done is I've asked Sarasota Herald Tribune to remove the comment sections that is at best very unwelcoming against their policies, directly against their policies. It says, we'll be in a welcoming environment. No, you're not welcome here, Mr. Speir. Get out of Sarasota. That's not welcoming. That's not welcoming, and at worst, an incitement to violence against me. I asked for that to be removed. That was not removed. I went to USA Today and said, please remove this. That wasn't removed. That's indicative of the culture and of the overall problem that we have, not just here. This this is larger. This is definitely an epicenter right now. We all feel it, right? This is an epicenter of this challenge. Are we going to be able to? Are we going to be able to move forward, working together? I believe we can, but it's going to take courage. It's going to take me coming here and demanding that we meet when the death threats were directly against me. I received death threats. You can say it's the students. I don't know. I have not heard, and the police and everybody have been talking to me. I can tell you the death threats were made against me. Now, what kind of welcoming environment is that? That's not a very welcoming environment. I'm not blaming anybody here in this room.
That's a shame.
Please, stop. Whoever it is that's talking, we'll make sure that you get a mic, okay? And I want to make sure that we have enough time for everybody to talk. But I had a conversation on Twitter, and there's been a couple things on Twitter that I think have been indicative. Is Nico Nicholas Delon here?
I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate the conversation. I look forward to meeting you and having these kind of discussions. And I want to share the discussion for those of you who didn't follow. And there's a tweet that I said, and I highlighted this, but what we highlighted and the connection that we made is going to be completely ignored. So I want to highlight it here. He was talking about Nietzsche, and I said something, what did I say? I said, Nietzsche's dead and God is alive. And get some attention with that, right? But the point is, the tweet afterwards, the point is that these are two starkly contrasting positions. He has an entirely different position than I do. But, and I want to say this, each of these is rooted in a set of beliefs that define two different groups of people. And it's the dogmatic expression of either position used to compel others that we should unite against. And that compulsion is through coercion and intimidation. Now, he's not being coerced or intimidated. I am. That should be a sign to you that we have a problem here. So I agree with Chris's statements, with Trustee Rufo's statements. I completely agree with them. There is a problem, and I had the same experience as I talk to people. So I just want to share my experience with you, and the path forward into this is to find common ground so that I respect your opinions. You guys are going to disagree with me. That's fantastic. In fact, I'm not saying that sarcastically. I'm saying this is a vibrant discussion, and New College of Florida can be that vibrant beacon that other people are looking to as an example of how to disagree respectfully, full of passion. I'm not against the passion. And I hope that you guys recognize that everything was about to be shut down here. I'm not sure how much you guys know, and that's part of the problem. I want things as public as possible. If we are public and transparent with all these changes, then I can actually hear you, and I don't have to hear through some administrator who's telling me it's not safe, or through somebody else who's telling me something different. I want to hear from you directly. And if we have this kind of direct contact, then I think that we can move forward in a respectful, vibrant way that becomes a beacon to all the other universities in the United States.
And I would say, I think we were both in deep agreement, that includes people from a variety of backgrounds and beliefs. So many of you have different beliefs than I do, or that Trustee Speir. We want that. And I think that we've demonstrated that today, all of us. All of you made the decision to come. All of you made the decision to stay and participate. All of you are making the decision to engage with your own perspective, with your own passion, respectfully. This is a new model of civic discourse. And we could have easily said, we're going to shut it down, we're going to cancel it. That's not the right thing to do. We have to have the courage to disagree, the courage to grapple with these ideas, the courage to actually live out the democratic process. This is a public institution. Everyone in the state should have their voice heard, their voice reflected, and not that they all have to agree with one another, but we have to create an open space. And what I'm hearing from the consultants and from everyone is that there is a stifling orthodoxy on campus. And what I promise to you is not to say, well, I want my views to become the new stifling orthodoxy. I want to create the space for academics to explore their disciplines. I want to create the space for students to engage in debates. And look, I graduated from college in 2006. It's not that long ago. And in my experience, we had perspectives from all over the map. We've lost that in the last 10 years. I talk to students all the time. That's vanished. When I talk to new college alumni, people who were here in the 70s, when this was one of the most exciting universities in the country, I was told that it had the top 5 median SAT scores in the mid-1970s at any university. I mean, getting the smartest people from all over the country. They say we had these freewheeling, wide-ranging, passionate debates. That's what a liberal arts education is about. And so I want to reopen the possibility for asking human questions beyond just the left-right politics, beyond just the kind of surface-level controversies that we engage in, which are inevitable. So we want to create that space. We want to create that space for left-wing students, Marxist students, conservative students, religious students. Everyone should be able to participate on an equal footing here. I think we want to leave tons of time for questions. So here's the rules. Try to be brief, try to be respectful, try to allow as many people to talk as possible. You can ask questions and we'll also try to be very brief on our remarks. They're going to be passing around the microphone, so if you can raise your hand, our friends here will select speakers. And introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Hi, I'm Chris Kotke, Associate Professor of Mathematics here at the college. So our collective bargaining agreement recognizes a shared responsibility for the academic program here between the faculty of the college and trustees. And just on a personal note, it's an academic program of which I'm personally very proud. My question for you is, how do you plan to collaborate with faculty to strengthen and build on our nationally recognized liberal arts curriculum?
I can tell you from my perspective, and I just want to tell everybody right away, I start with a zero-sum game. I want to look at everything. What's the ability to make changes and move forward? I want to know what and then operate within those rules. So I'll be asking a lot of questions to find out what is possible, what isn't possible. So to answer your question from my perspective, I don't know enough just yet. I'm going to be, I've been drinking from the fire hose real quick, and so I don't know just yet. I don't know what I don't know.
So, Professor, I'll address it very briefly. I can't discuss specifics or the collective bargaining agreement, of course, but in general terms, I've talked to some of your colleagues in the math and science, and you guys have an extraordinary program. And I think that we should try to get more resources, more support, more openness, and support the great work that you and your colleagues are doing. And look, you can call me, you can talk to me. I'm happy to chat behind the scenes if you have questions or concerns. And we want to create this space for you to excel. And we want to give you the resources both as a university and also as academics to make sure that you have what you need to do your job. So I look forward to it, and please reach out to me personally. I like that song, that's very nice.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, this is Lanny, Biology and Neuroscience. This question specifically is for Trustee Speir. So on your website for the Inspiration Academy, you lament the sort of transactional nature of education nowadays, right? Students just like working for a grade, not prioritizing learning, and it can be really demotivating for learning. And actually, I think that's a point of agreement with us. We, as an institution, actually have a structure that really de-emphasizes the transactional nature of grades because we don't have them. We do narrative evaluations, and we allow for lots of personalization of the academic program through things like one-on-one tutorials, and if you want me to explain that more, I'm happy to do it. And so I think it's great that we have this point of agreement, but it's also tricky because it's not the way that lots of universities operate, and we want to be able to promote and support and advocate for what we do. So I'm curious, as a trustee, how you would advocate for our unique system of education here at New College.
That's a great question, and we do agree a lot on the philosophy of education. So what I think we need to do is confront the brutal facts that of everything that Chris articulated, and he articulated it very well. And I agree. If we confront those brutal facts and we show Tallahassee that this is moving in a direction that's open and free, that everybody feels comfortable expressing their opinions, no matter how far outside of the current orthodoxy it is. When we do that, I think that we will have the ability to continue with the program. Has basically we call it EBIS at our school, exception-based education system, where every student is the exception. You're not just trying to industrialize, take the Industrial Revolution and apply it to education, boom, 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 boom. It's more like, no, we need to unlock the passion and the mind that's within these students and just celebrate, and dare I say this, God's beautiful work in all of us. You don't have to agree with that, but you understand the sentiment, I hope.
I think that we have, okay, and then you, okay?
Hi, I'm Liz Bates. I'm a psychology technician for New College of Florida. Why are you squinting? Can you see?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to see. I don't have my glasses on, so.
Oh, okay, hi. This question is specifically for Christopher. So I have perused your Twitter. It has many public statements, and it seems that there is a pattern of you falsely equating queerness and transness with pedophilia and other forms of child abuse.
That's not true.
Hold on.
It is true. It is true. And bullying and intimidation.
Let me ask my question.
Sure.
So this is a yes or no question for you. I want to know if you think that the queer and trans people of the New College community are a threat.
What do you mean by threat? I think no, but can you elaborate?
If you equate, and you do, queerness and transness, pedophilia and homophobia.
No, I disagree. I don't think that's right at all. But
so
look,
you disagree that there's an equivalency, or you disagree that it's a false equivalency?
no. I think that you're totally misstating my own view, and I'm happy to address this question. So thank you for your question. Look, my philosophy on this is quite simple. You're going to have students, faculty, staff from a wide variety of backgrounds, from a wide variety of groups, and we need to have a single common standard of behavior, a single common standard of merit, a single common standard of judgment on academic matters, etc. that says we're going to treat everyone equally. Everyone has equal human dignity. We should respect everyone as a human being, as an individual, and have a unified standard, a single standard by which we treat people fairly, we treat people with equal rights, and that's all. And I think that we don't want to get into the policy, and I think that we're going to change policies. Any policies that exist that do this is we're going to have favoritism on the basis of identity groups. So I think that group-based rights, group-based discrimination, identity-based preferences are policies that I strongly disagree with. I think we have to get back to respecting everyone as an individual, and of course, I just totally disagree with your characterization. Next question.
Hi, I'm Don O'Shea. I'm a professor of mathematics. And,
a lot of math professors, I love it. Yeah.
Okay, and former administrator. But,
all right, not so much, yeah.
One thing, part of the growth plan was predicated on receiving funding for some new facilities. And parents often complain about the state of our dorms. We have pay dorms there that are beloved in the community, but are dark, they're damp, they attract mold at times. It's tough. Have you got ideas about how to get more resources for new buildings and new facilities?
Yeah, definitely. By the way, are you actually the former president?
I am, yeah.
Okay, well, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Everybody was laughing, I didn't get the joke, okay. Yeah, there's, just talking politics here, I think Florida is flush with cash. There's a lot of people that are moving here. And I think that Governor DeSantis has clearly stated that this is the free state of Florida, And this is where woke goes to die. I know. I'm answering the question. Hold on. So when we show that we are moving, that we understand the assignment, that we are moving in a direction that has that free thinking, risk taking, and trailblazing for all students, regardless of their, and I like the word orthodoxy, but regardless of their wokeness, then I think that the coffers will open, definitely. And I think that is the path forward in my mind.
And so I think, just to add very briefly, it's a great question, a very practical question. I found very, very good question. So, look, yes, I mean, it's not a secret that some of the facilities and physical plant here needs help. I've heard, tens of millions of dollars, up to $100 million in deferred maintenance. This is a problem for admissions. You're competing against schools with very shiny, very fancy glass and steel facilities. I think the ultimate problem, though, is not money. The ultimate problem is leadership. And I think if we can demonstrate leadership, we can demonstrate excellence, we can start turning around some of those numbers that the state has decided are insufficient, we can do two things. We can show progress to the public and then to legislators. And look, we're coming in with a set of relationships, with the legislators, with the governor, who has said very clearly in his mandate to us, let's turn this around, and they're going to do everything in their power to support it. And so facilities is very important. And certainly the dorm question is one that I've heard from everyone. And I think it's unacceptable that in some buildings 40% of the spaces are totally offline. That's crazy. And I think we need to be thinking big. We need to be thinking beyond just, let's patch over the problem or reroute the pipes, the internal pipes to the other thing. We need to be thinking big, we need to be thinking boldly, not defensively anymore. We need to build on our great relationships with the state and realize that if we can do that, we can do better than just deferring the maintenance, better than just trying to clean up the mold in the dormitories. We can do something transformative and something that is going to have a long-lasting impact from admissions to student experience to student outcomes.
Hi. Hello. My name is Sonia Hammond, MD. And it's good to speak.
Say your name again, I couldn't hear that.
Sonia Hammond, MD. And it is very good to speak with you. I have to, however, argue with some of your financial numbers because I have one child in New College and I have another child at the same college. Our yearly tuition here is $69.16. Their yearly tuition is $56.16. I assure you, being intimately involved with their education and paying for it, I know these numbers to be false. Number two.
Can you explain it to me? What is the number in your view?
I don't have a view. These are facts.
What is the number? You're saying they're false, but what is the real?
The tuition number at FSU per year is $5,616. $5,616.
Okay.
My other fact is that I sent a child here, both freshmen, and this one pays $6,916. That's a fact. That's not open for interpretation.
Okay.
Wherever you got this is incorrect.
Well, what number are you disputing? Didn't I not say $6,900? Maybe I missed $19, but I mean that's a Starbucks order.
Yeah. Your paper, which is absolutely ludicrous, says 1,907.
Okay. So here's no. So you're conflating two numbers. The tuition that you pay out of pocket, we're correct. We agree on $6,900, and less if you have a future scholarship. But let's say $6,900 average tuition. This is the state cost per degree. So what that means is that they're taking the total operating cost of the university, or the state funding in the university, dividing it by the number of people who graduate with a degree. So you're talking about two totally different numbers. And so maybe you can dispute that. That's from a legislative report, but it's not your out of pocket because the state subsidizes this. So it's the cost to the state per graduate. Yeah.
There is absolutely no way that this is true. And I ask you to
take it up with the
other thing is, I'm going to speak from the conservative paper, The Bulwark.
It's a liberal paper of former conservatives, but okay, go ahead.
This is an old article, so it's okay. New College. New College has the highest enrollment rate this year since 2016. Now, we did, as did all universities across the nation, suffer a huge, huge decline during COVID. This year, we have 30% more than last year. We are the highest class of enrollment since 2016. And to quote the Bulwark, the many rumors of our death have been vastly over-exaggerated. Number 3.
Can I respond to number 2?
Have Trustee Speir ask, and I appreciate it. And we can talk afterwards if you have, and I can take number 3 privately.
I'd like to respond.
And let other people have a chance to speak too.
One more thing. I need to state this one more thing.
10 seconds.
Okay. Okay. This that you said about respectful intercourse between two people, I read everything you've ever written on Twitter. I've heard you insult one of our students, sent a crying, laughing emoji when she said she had to lay down. She was so upset.
Okay, thanks for your point of view. I appreciate it.
I also watched you on Fox. I've seen you on Fox. I know what you are.
So a couple things. If we focus on all of the negative things and just don't recognize the situation that New College is in,
that's why we don't trust you.
That is going to be problematic in the path forward. I hope that you guys recognize the situation that we're in, that New College's existence is in jeopardy.
You're holding us hostage. You're holding us hostage.
I just got here. I haven't even been to one board meeting. I don't think I'm holding anybody hostage.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
My name is Diego, and I'm the theater professor.
All right.
Hello. Okay. All right. So first of all, I want to say that I'm actually quite pleasantly surprised. The fact is that when I read about the two of you in the media, you sounded crazy, right? Like, I mean, it was like, who are these people? And landing parties and all this other stuff. And today, I feel like I understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. I feel like they are earnest and that you are honest about them. As you said earlier, you're welcome. As you said earlier, I appreciate the God bless you. I myself am a God-fearing person. I want to say, God bless you as well.
Thank you.
I also appreciate you being here. My background is Colombian, and we have a phrase which is mostrar la cara. Show your face. And you have come here and you have shown your face. Yes. And while I may or may not disagree with some or all or a few or whatever of the points or point of views, you're here, you're talking to us, and you're letting us talk, which is why I was given this mic. I appreciate it. I don't necessarily have questions, but I do have responses which I wish to put on the radar of the leadership of the positions that you now hold. I have a hope and an optimism that you will not betray the sacred trust that has been given to you by our governor to lead us in a new direction. The first of that is I want to put on your radar that our admissions are low, and I agree with that. And if you have ideas on how to increase students, I am ready. I cannot speak for all the faculty here. I can only speak for myself. If you give me more students, I will teach them. So please do that. And if you have new ideas that we haven't heard, please tell our admissions people, tell our administration. Please, I'm ready to teach. Now, when you say that declining academics and standards are happening, I am wondering how you are measuring that. And again, these are complicated things that are being talked about 2 or 3 or 4 levels above me. But I do encourage you all as leaders to think, how is that being measured? Because I can tell you that I'm in the trenches. I am not an administrator. I'm helping these young people, and I'm working on how to write a paper, how to stand stage right or stage center, how to speak. And I don't see the declining standards that you are mentioning, so I'm hoping that you all are thinking about the measures that you may be using. Also, when it comes to cost per degree, I am baffled. I'm not a mathematician like my colleagues that have stood up, but it seems to me like cost per degree should also be multiplied by degrees printed. So if FSU, our flagship program, has $38 or let's say $40,000 cost per unit, why would we not be counting the number of units that they print and compare it to the number of units that we print? And in doing so, compare whole numbers to the cost to the state, of which I myself am a constituent, and I don't want my money thrown away.
Sure.
Now, I know that you might respond, but if I may just put these things on your radar, because I only have a moment.
Please.
Additionally, retention is something that you mentioned. And yes, many of our students do leave. I tell you, because I'm sad about it. Yeah. I pour a lot into my students. So when a first-year student leaves, I'm like, damn, that was my time. I was pouring into that person so that they could, quote, lead a life of great achievement. But I also question, could that retention issue not be because we are unique? Because we are different. We have no grades, no departments, no majors, and a student may arrive and think that they want that, but once they see the reality of the work that they have to do, and my students do honors level work, they may want a more traditional experience. Also, if performance metrics are low, has it been asked by yourselves who are new here? And we welcome you. I welcome you. I can only speak for myself today. How are those metrics made? And possibly could they have been made for more traditional college of the SUS, such as FSU? If we don't have grades, we don't have departments, or we don't have majors, how can some of those metrics be used across all schools when we are so different? Additionally, if one of those metrics is based off of 1 year having no jobs, why is it 1? Why is it not 10? Because I have read in publications that at 10 years, our students make more than I do. If we are counting that 1 year metric being $32,000, as was just mentioned, also, are you all considering a metric for, are they happy? Are they leading lives and headed towards success in that field? Stifling orthodoxy was mentioned, and I want to know, like, how are you gauging that? How does one gauge a stifling orthodoxy through the anecdotal evidence that you all are gathering, and are still gathering, because it's probably like your second day. So I welcome for you to gather that information, and I also, if we have a stifling orthodoxy, go get it. We need a place of ideas where ideas can be shared. We need a place where a Christian student can be next to a non-Christian student and lively debate can happen. Now, the difference is, in the trenches, that is happening. I do not hold a crystal ball, and I can't speak for the other classrooms. I can only speak for my small theater. Yeah. So I encourage you to do that investigation and check that out. And if it's there, go get it. Now, if we have lost that ability to have differing views, what ways of communication can you bring us from outside that we maybe don't know because we've been so busy being like the small person with no, the small school with no money necessarily?
Hey, can we pause right there?
Yeah, can we pause there?
Those are great, and he has a comment there.
I just want to say, let's give a round of applause. This is the spirit of liberal arts education. And I'm going to have a chance to maybe get a few more questions, but I want to say this. What you have just said, and the principles and values underneath what you've said that you can feel from you, are exactly the kind of thing that we need to encourage. And so I want to thank you for that, and I'll share maybe a bit of my own experience. I spent my first 10 years of my career as a documentary filmmaker. I directed 4 films for PBS. I sold a film to Netflix. I worked on National Geographic projects. I traveled around the world to 70 countries around the world for 10 years. I made less than $32,000 for a few years after graduation.
Real talk.
And so I was broke, you know. I was sharing a house with a bunch of guys. We were all struggling to make it in the arts. I'm sure that you have that same experience as a theater professor.
Absolutely.
So I agree. And I didn't feel like I was a lesser person because I was broke. I mean, I had some struggles, of course. So I get that the life of an artist, the life of a thinker often travels through a life that doesn't prioritize the material well-being. So I 100% agree with you. These are the standards for the Board of Governors, and if we want to have our own internal standards, that we can start measuring things like this, I'm all about it. And I think that what you've said, I bet you would disagree, we could disagree over drinks afterwards, but if we can have this between you and us right now as a model for conversation, this would not have happened if we'd canceled this event. We can't be scared, and all of you pushed through that fear because you wanted to be here and you care. And you wanted to have this conversation, and so I just want to say thank you. And I want to say let's do everything we can to make this the new standard here at the college.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the recognition that this exists here as well. I just have like a closing sentence, and then I'll pass it off. Sorry, theater. There you go, performance. So I want to say that today my comments, I'm representing myself and no one else. I want to welcome you and look forward to working together to advance the college, to do some awesome academic work while protecting my students, some of whom are Black, Brown, LGBTQIA, and other underrepresented groups, and those that don't belong to those groups as well, that make up my actors, directors, choreographers, and theater scholars. Once again, God bless you.
Do we have the mics? Thank you.
This gentleman here's that stand up.
While she's bringing the mic, I do have one comment there. I challenged the editor of the Sarasota Herald-Tribune to a debate so that we could respectfully disagree, and I asked that it be done right here at New College of Florida, that we show the way of respectful disagreement that is missing in America at large. So that's one of the answers to your question that I would like to move forward. But we've got a lot of business to do, and we got a lot of questions. But
hi, I'm David Verbacher. I'm a professor of classics. My question is for Mr. Rufo. You've praised in your remarks a small liberal arts college as in one-on-one learning. You've also used the stat of the amount of state funding it takes for each student as a kind of cudgel against the college, and I just wonder if it's possible to have one-on-one education, liberal arts education, that doesn't cost more per student than FSU or UF should be, and whether that's maybe a misleading statistic to use.
Sure, yeah, I don't think it's misleading because look, the legislators are using it, but I agree with you that those two numbers are in tension, right? There's going to be a tension, there's going to be a give and take between those two numbers. You're going to have a financial pressure where legislators are going to say, 200,000 versus 35,000, what's the best use of resources? But of course, to have low faculty to student ratios, to have that one-on-one ability, it's going to cost more. And I don't think that anyone is saying that it should be the same as a huge university that has the advantage of economies of scale, right? Diminishing marginal cost because they have 35,000 or 40,000 kids. So I think that the number where I think we can agree though is, one way to get that number down with no change to other inputs is to say having higher graduation rates in 4 years, higher graduation rates in 6 years, lower dropout rates after a year. So if you get that number to the degree completion with no other changes, all the things being held equal, I think that you can get that number down. And of course, I didn't expect it, and I will fight on behalf of maintaining the ability for you to do that and say, hey look, this is going to cost more because we're giving a private school style education at a public university is something that is unique, and I think that people will moderate their expectations accordingly.
Hi, how are you? I'm actually going to start by saying that my name is Jolene Rosario Hernandez, and I am the Chief Diversity Officer and Dean of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion here at NCF. Since I started in August, we've been working really hard here, especially because of the Board of Governors' civil discourse on trying to get exactly what you both speak of, right? Having a space where our students, our staff, and our faculty are able to engage in difficult dialogue. right? Across difference. And I heard a lot from the both of you sharing about how you want that to be at the epitome and at the heart of education. And I would say that I would agree with that for many different reasons, right? And my question is, you also mentioned our Governor DeSantis, and you also mentioned a particular quote that he is utilizing, which is, "Where woke goes to die," here in Florida. And so, as educational and intellectuals having a really great conversation across, my question for you both is, thinking about the institution that you were just held responsible for being a part and changing and making us better, how are you planning to ensure that, quote unquote, as you mentioned, liberals are also welcomed and actually have access to continue to play a role in a conversation where difficult dialogue has to occur across differences without annihilating or eliminating or using intimidation and fear as a proponent to ensure that people like myself maybe will not be fired next week? So how can you have some maybe ideas, share some of your thoughts? What are some strategies to ensure that everyone gets a seat at the table to have difficult dialogue?
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. Did you, show of hands, how many people read what I put out there on the Substack article? Did you read that?
Oh yeah.
No?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, some people didn't. I articulate there a path, a framework for those discussions. And I'd recommend reading it. I'm not sure, I think a lot of people disagree with it and have said so quite loudly. But that's my answer. We've got to define what wokeness is. There's aspects of wokeness that are absolutely shared values that we all have. I understand that those are political words, but we've got to translate those political words into the academia, and we've got to carry this out and do so in a way that Tallahassee recognizes it, and we can get the buildings funded, and we can get the resources that we need, because again, there's a mandate there. So what I recommended, let's see if I can put it together, basically categorizing those things and having committees say this is good, this is a dogma of that orthodoxy. First, define wokeness as a religion, and second, call wokeness that there's aspects of this. If you look at go ahead and read the article.
I got it. It's right here.
But when you do that, it's a shared set of beliefs that a group of people have. I think we'd all agree with that, right?
Yeah.
That wokeness is a shared set of beliefs that that people have, a group of people have. Is that fair? It's not a set of beliefs? I think from the outside looking in, that's what it looks like. And I honestly, and if in my article, I share that I don't like being called religious, but that doesn't mean that people don't call me religious. I don't like it. I like to say, no, this is a relationship that I have with God. This isn't a religion. But as far as the common vernacular that we're using, the common definitions, I have to recognize, okay, that definition actually fits. And I'd encourage you to say that definition of wokeness as a religion, a set of beliefs that define a moral code, is a religion. And then with that religion, these are the things that we agree on. These are the shared values. These are the dogmatic expressions of those values. And these are the forced pledges of fealty that we're all against.
Great, and I'll kind of give my 2 cents, and then maybe we'll take one final question. But that is a great question, and I would submit, according to all of the evidence, reports, conversations, that there is a problem. And I agree that no one should feel intimidated. And I think that the best answer to your question is what we've done here today. There was someone, we don't know who, we don't know necessarily what motivations, that tried to shut this open conversation down using the threat of violence and intimidation. And we've now modeled the response to that is, we're not gonna back down. We're not gonna let the threat of violence be a veto on any conversation. And I think that we've had a number of people that have had great opinions with which I may disagree. But I think that we've demonstrated that we're willing to listen, we're willing to have a discussion, we want to have everyone feel like they can be part of the process. And I think that we're looking at the same problem from maybe two sides of the same coin. But the administration has for years now, has established that there is a kind of social justice-oriented orthodoxy that has created an echo chamber that has prevented a lot of debates. And I've talked privately with a number of people who said, oh yeah, I had a student who was bullied off campus by activists that are weaponizing that ideology, using even school resources, such as the school forum, to then kind of relentlessly bully and intimidate kids off campus altogether. And we can talk about the individual instances. I'm sure we're going to get some documentation to substantiate it beyond just the conversations, but even the consultants and even the university itself published a document saying that that is the problem. So that's a problem we're trying to solve. That's a problem that I think we're modeling the solution to right now by having this open debate. I think we have time for one more question.
Hi, my name is David Harvey. I'm a professor of history and also occupied a number of roles that I guess you describe as sort of middle management in the structure here. First of all, just to echo what Diego said earlier, welcome to New College. This is a truly special community of which the two of you are now part. So I'm also, I think, at least somewhat encouraged by the dialogue that we've had here. I do also, just from, I guess, putting my administrative hat on a little bit, just want to underline the seriousness of the situation in which we find ourselves. The statistics that Chris opened up with are real. And we have, I think, a limited window to turn things around. And I would submit we're only going to be able to do that if we work together. There are clearly, in this dialogue, I think has made this obvious, issues on which we disagree pretty strongly. I think there are also a number of issues on which we can find common ground, particularly around the ideals of liberal arts education and the need to serve our students. So I guess I just want to issue this as something of an invitation. Come sit in our classes, come to our events, get to know the community. And I think there's a lot of good people here doing terrific work. I think there are a lot of ideas, a number of initiatives in progress to try and turn the numbers around. We're interested in your ideas as well. And I guess tell everyone, if we're constantly fighting with each other, we're not going to get anywhere. We need to maybe, at least for a time, set aside the hot button issues on which we disagree and really try to focus on common ground and turning this wonderful institution around and putting it on a more sustainable path.
I appreciate that, and I agree, and I'll be candid with you. Look, I'm an untraditional trustee. Would you say that's true? Yeah. But this is a kind of crisis situation. I wouldn't be here if there were not a significant problem. And so I am, in some ways, a kind of drastic solution to a crisis. But what I would say is that I'm in the media business. I'm a journalist, I'm an activist. You guys may not like how I operate in my professional life. I understand that. But what I also want you to understand is that, I'm highly educated. I'm a reasonable person. I think I've talked with a number of you, and you said, "Oh wow, you're a big scary guy on TV." But I talked to you, you seem like actually really nice. And so, while I think that it's important that we have to demonstrate a certain strength and a certain resolve and a certain severity, because we're challenging severe problems, I do want to make sure that a bit of my personality gets through. That look, I have a liberal arts education. You know, I know the value of the liberal arts. I would not want a classroom for me like even some of the colleges that have a kind of stifling conservative or religious orthodoxy. That is not an attractive environment for me. I want to have an education that has I want a Marxist professor debating a libertarian professor, debating a Christian professor, debating an atheist professor. But and I think we have the faculty to do that, and I think that the leadership problem is real. And so, look, we're not going to be teaching classes. I trust you. I've seen all of your CVs, as many as I could find. You don't need to be told how to teach or how to talk to students. You guys are masters of your craft. But our role is to provide a common standard, a set of leadership, a set of kind of management expectations. And I want you to feel, and I think you will feel, actually a bit of pressure off your back. You're going to say, oh wow, I feel like this is actually more open. I have a wider variety of students that are coming in. I have people that are challenging my perspectives, and we're having more civil discourse and debate. And so that's my hope. And of course, all faculty, you guys can call me. And I do want you to know, whatever I have to do in my personal role, you know, it's a very unique kind of role. You know, there's another side too, and I'd love to engage in that way.
So I just want to take a moment here and thank Trustee Speir and Trustee Rufo for coming and joining us today. I think that, thank you all. And I think one of our shared values in Florida higher education is transparency and leadership. And so being willing to come and have transparent discussions, both in the boardroom and also here on campus at events today, is, I think, really a positive start to moving this university in the direction that we're going in the next few years. So thank you all for taking time out of your very, very busy days to join with us today in this conversation.
Could I get the citation in bold Oh, okay.
Hey.
Hey. I kind of want to introduce myself.
I'm trying to talk to Rufo too.
All right.
I'm still rolling. I'm gonna invite him to the pool.
Are you actually?
Yep.
That'd be awesome. Let's do that. Can we go up on the...
Should I keep rolling or just stop here?
Maybe just stop. Let's be a little more personal about it.